Yeah, so basically, I believe that we're all playing characters. That's it. We're all playing a role. It's like a role in a movie. Actors sign up to play different characters. Though, of course, the actors themselves, meaning the people, they're playing a role as well in a character, which some of them, I'm sure, are aware of it. And I'm sure there are a lot that aren't. Who knows what the ratio is, but we're all playing a character, including me. Our identity, quote unquote, that's the character. But you see, it doesn't have to be. And that's basically what I'm talking about here. What is identity? Where does your identity come from? Where does our identity come from? Where? Well, it's a very complicated question, which I'm going to try to answer very quickly because I was watching something amazing, and which is my Tokyo, Japan tribute, and I want to get back to it, but I just had this idea and I had to record it. Anyway, identity, identity, you know, you, quote unquote. Where does that come from? Combination of places. To narrow it down, what I would say are the main ones are genetics. That basically determines obviously the color of our skin, color of our hair, things like that, and some regular, biological traits. If you get sick because you eat apples or something, maybe that came from who knows where. Or if you're a good jumper, that's genetics. Natural born pros and cons, basically. Um, those are our default stats. If you're like a video game nerd like me, those are our default stats. But everyone's different because it depends on genetics. And that goes back, whew, like, anyway. Um, but of course, there's all these branches of it, all over the world. Um, but yes, so genetics is one that determines our identity. Plus, life experience. So that is just, as far as I'm aware, who knows, there's a lot of spiritual theories out there, but as far as I'm aware, as far as I can see, at least for now, it's random, I mean, maybe the decision is made what life we're going to live, or, at least what city or state or whatever country of the world, or what gender. I don't know. Maybe those decisions are made by us, by our souls, if you will, quote unquote. Our energetic self, whatever you want to call it, our spiritual, our higher self, whatever word you want to choose. I guess maybe I'll choose our higher self because I really like how that sounds. Our higher self. So maybe our higher self chooses what life we're going to live, as I've read, certain theories state. But either way, the point is that as far as we can tell, and like I said, there's so many theories about like destiny versus this and this, that. But what I'm trying to get at, I'll keep it simple for now. Yes, this is actually me keeping it simple, honestly. Life experience. Okay, so genetics, what makes somebody's identity? Before I get super off track, what makes somebody's identity? Genetics plus life experience plus free will equals identity, in my opinion. What that means is, okay, I already covered genetics and life experience. Okay, but without getting too crazy and weird out there about it, let's just look at it on the surface level. Life experience, what someone experiences, good and bad, right, and everything in between. Life experience, do they do this? Do they do that? Are they a baker? Are they a guitar player? Do they travel the world? Do they, I don't know, like anything, are they a good person? Are they bad? Are they anything in between? And keep in mind, they're all just words and labels. Everything I believe is actually in a complete stage of neutrality, as in creation. The default state of creation is just neutrality, but then our different states of consciousness, which we all are, points of consciousness, wow, that word's hard to say. uh, we start painting the picture, and that's where free will comes in. Actually, wow, that was a great transition. Of course, my subconscious probably had it planned all along. Anyway, insert joke here. Anyway, okay, back to what I was speaking of. Free will. Yes, so life experience is everything we experience. But then there's the third part of the equation, which is free will. And that's where the real juicy part is. That's where you can actually say, you are you and I am me, and we're living different lives, and you're actually in control of the ship. Free will. And I used to think it didn't exist, to be honest, because I figured we were just like a product of our genetics plus our life experience. Um, and anyway, that's a whole nother, that's a very, a complicated. It would take me like probably a good hour to explain what I mean by that. But the point is, I didn't think free will existed, but now I do, because even if all of our supposed choices, like for example, there's a example I always make. Today I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat. What am I gonna eat? Like, am I gonna eat some what tacos, or am I gonna eat like, I don't know, a burger? Just simple choices. And whatever I would choose, you would think, oh yeah, that's free will. You wanted the burger or you wanted the taco, right? That's your free will. Well, you only like burgers because you grew up in a part of the world where burgers are everywhere, and commercials tell you to eat burgers and blah blah blah. And you only like tacos because you're of a Hispanic background or whatever, or grew up in a city with that culture, whatever those foods. The point is that those weren't your choices. They basically just came into your life, and there wasn't much of a choice to accept them. They were just there. They were part of the life you were living without really you choosing to be there. They just happened to be there or happened to appear. You didn't choose to like it. You were just born into it. Um, and everything you chose after that was just based on everything you'd been programmed with already at birth. So you see, even if you went like to another country and you found that you liked their foods and it was completely had nothing to do with your history or anything like that, the fact that you went to that country, the fact that you chose to leave, everything that led you to leaving and trying those new foods and even ending up liking those new foods is all based on who you were already. Your current like palate for taste, your current preferences. Like, see, it all is based on our default values, no matter how wild and kooky you think it is. Sorry, there's some construction going on. Really annoying. Okay, I'll try to finish this up then. Well, they got to do what they got to do. They're fixing this play. They're not fixing it, but they're like apparently making it better, or who knows what. Anyway, back to what I'm talking about. So choices I felt weren't really ours. It was the illusion of choice. So that's why I thought free will didn't exist, because we were programmed by our society, by our genetics, and so all of our preferences weren't really our preferences. They were just programmed into us. So there was no such thing as choice, because if you're choosing between A and B, those two choices were just programmed into you. Programmed into you. They could have been something else completely. So choosing, no matter which you choose, doesn't matter because you didn't really choose it yourself. So that's what I thought, that there was no such thing as free will. But then I started thinking, I'm looking at this all wrong. The fact that you can, and that's capital CAN, the fact that we actually have the ability to choose, even if it's the illusion of choice, even if both choices are an illusion, and they're not really our preferences that we chose, quote unquote, the fact that we can choose means that free will exists. Otherwise, we would just be like watching a movie, you know? So I came to the conclusion that free will does exist and equals our identity. And basically, the more and more sort of you're aware of all these things, the more and more you're awake about all these things, the more and more you can actually steer the ship. The more and more you can actually control who you want to be, your personality, what you want to express to others, everything like that. So yeah, those are basically my thoughts on that as far as what makes a human identity. And it's a combination of those things. At least that's what I believe. That's how I see it, and I think it makes a lot of sense actually. But of course, there's always there's no like set nothing set in stone. Though even stone disappears eventually. But no, I mean everything's just a work in progress. These are just me recording my current findings and ideas. But everything's always developing, and ideas can always change. But this is just like I said, me recording my current thoughts and beliefs. So yeah, that's about it. All right. I think I've just discovered something about myself, and that's that the reason for my most ultimate level of sadness, why I've never really let myself enjoy this reality to its fullest potential, is because I've always wondered since I was basically born, really, if I think about it, about what this reality even was, what the nature of it was, and what would happen, beyond it, if there even was a beyond it. So since I never really understood the nature of this reality, and I always had a doubt about it. And see, that's my problem. That's really what I should title this, which is the seed of doubt. And by the way, it is um, Monday, June 27th, 6:45 a.m., and it is 2022. And yeah, the seed of doubt, the seed of doubt. That's what I'm going to call this, because that's essentially been everything that's caused so much misery for me, including my OCD, which obviously that's where it stems from, the seed of doubt. And that's apparently, I've just realized more so than ever before, that it's been my greatest enemy, as far as like within myself. It is what has stopped my growth the most, or slowed my growth, or not stopped my growth. I never did permanently, but I mean like slowed it to ridiculous amounts, at times to almost nothingness, and other times just made it harder to live. It's a seed of doubt. That's why I always had this sort of like melancholy, is that how you say it? Melancholy. I can't believe I don't remember how to say that word. Melancholy? Yeah, melancholy. Like the album, that's great. Melancholy. I don't know, I always had these melancholy vibes about me. And I think that's why, because I didn't really know what this reality was and couldn't. Of course, no one really does, more than likely, but all we can do is have beliefs, right, about it. And I had just never made up my mind because I hadn't found any information that was really convincing enough. But I finally did. Right now, I was on, what am I, Silver Haze? No, Lemon Haze. Um, yeah, Lemon Haze. Let me just double check here. Yeah, Lemon Haze. And Sativa, pretty sure, was my vape. And yeah, a lot of crazy thoughts came to me. A lot, just about the nature of reality and understanding what it really is, which is that it's just we're all God, and we have all the powers of God to create our own reality the way that we see fit, if we truly believe that. And I feel like I just did that and changed it into exactly what I want. Though of course here back in physical reality, there's more of a lag, I believe. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say, and I just feel that makes sense. It makes sense. A lag is in, from thought to creation. So it's not as instantaneous in the finer dimensions of vibrations. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say this, and it just makes sense. It just sounds true. It feels right. And from everything I've ever experienced, like I said, it has the most possibility of being true for me. So I think I'll keep believing that until I find anything else that, I felt was even more likely true. Because that's what we have to do. We have to believe, or else we fall apart, or we're just miserable, like I was for a long time, just going back and forth and not really being sure about what this reality was. But now I really feel really pretty much about as sure as I think anyone can be about it, or as I can be anyway, at least for now. Like I said, unless I find something else that convinces me more so otherwise, I do believe that, yeah, we're all one, and that we can create our own reality, and we're all God. I really do believe that. And the reason this too is because, so yeah, so that's basically what I found out that about myself, the seed of doubt about the nature of this reality, is why I've always had this melancholy vibe about me, and I never really understood why. I mean, I knew it had something to do with like the state of things and the nature of life. I guess I sort of did, but I didn't really realize that it was exactly that. I guess just, yeah, the doubting of existence and the reason people do what they do and societies work the way they work, and just trying to understand it and just being in such a flux about it. Yeah, I guess I did sort of know, but not specifically. Didn't realize it was such a root. Well, that the root was doubt, really. I knew those things bothered me, but I hadn't quite realized that the root was doubt. Yeah, that's what it is. I didn't realize that the root of thinking those things, and those things making me, unhappy,
the cause of me thinking those things was doubt about, and it seems like obvious, like, oh yeah, you were doubting this, you're doubting that. Yeah, but I don't know, I hadn't really sat there and thought, oh, it's all rooted in doubt. And also, that gets me to other problems I've been working on recently, which is with the OCD and how rooted in doubt that is. And it's just basically malfunctioning um, system of, what's the word, anxiety. Malfunctioning, like, sense of anxiety. That's it, which of course sends the mind into the darkest paths, and that creates obsessions and doubts and compulsions, and yeah, it's just ridiculous. So the OCD is one thing I've been working on for a long time, and definitely improved tremendously. And yeah, so I knew doubt was played a big part in that, but and so I guess that's why maybe I also realized now that wow, I was actually doubting all of existence itself as well, and that's actually why I've always felt sort of melancholy and just not really inspired to do anything or be anything in this life, because I'm like, well, if nothing really matters or whatever, then or nothing's really real, and what does it matter? That's sort of what I always felt. So it was hard to push myself to get to do anything. But now that I do feel, like I said, as confident as I can feel, I think, about the nature of this reality, I feel a lot more inspired, and definitely don't feel that melancholy feeling anymore. It's weird. I feel like I had to record this because I feel like I've just taken like a magic pill. It's very weird, like a magic spell. I'll see how long it lasts. Hopefully, a long time, or at least some time. Either way, it's a nice feeling. And yeah, so if this makes me feel this good, then I should keep feeling this way and thinking these things and believing these things, because it feels true. And like I said, that, like I was thinking earlier too, that might be part of the con of life, which is that we're programmed biologically to do what we've been programmed to do, because that makes us quote unquote feel good, as in release certain chemicals within us that makes us feel good. And when we're going against our programming, chemicals are released to make us feel quote unquote bad. So it almost seems like we've been programmed just to be slaves or bots. That's the other thing I wanted to say real quick, which I should have made two videos, but it feels like we were all just like programmed by a super consciousness to be bots, basically, to just go seek and destroy, or seek and gather knowledge, for the sake of the whole. Basically, just disposable toys. I don't know. I guess you could look at it in a really bad way, but in order, I think, to take back our independence, and realize that we're gods ourselves, no less than the greater whole, then you've got to realize that everything is bullshit. Nothing is real. So just do what you want, be who you want, you know? That's pretty much it. Like, it's truly like that simple. Like, there's no if or buts or whatever or and or no, it's just, that's it. Like, be who you want. Of course, that also means people can take it to extremes, and then that's when we have conflict. So I do think harmony and balance is key, so not hurting others, not causing destruction. But, of course, there's releases for everything. Even violent tendencies. You could just make violent movies instead of actually hurting people, you know. But anyway, I'm just saying that I think it's important for everyone to realize uh, how independent they can be, and to truly become free of the programming that I believe exists in all biological life forms. By who or what, who knows? Maybe it's just the nature of reality, quote unquote reality. Oh, yeah, got cut off. Um, but yeah, so I guess what I'm just saying, that once you take back control of your own life, then you'll be a lot happier. And you know that it's not because you're following your programming, or is it? Who can really know what it is, right? Whatever. Life's just more fun when you just do what you want to do. Even if that's just an illusion, who cares? It still feels great. So that's what I realized. If all we can be is a puppet, I'd rather be a puppet experiencing happiness than sadness. The important thing is to know that it's all an illusion, all a game. So, it won't get you down. and you'll just be like whatever about things, and you'll be also a lot more confident in your choices. So yeah, it just helps in a lot of ways to just bring up happiness and confidence to follow your dreams, basically. But anyway, so I was saying that, and the other thing about, yeah, the seed of doubt, and yeah, so I'm gonna trust now that I understand this reality, and I think it's gonna make me a lot happier and a lot more productive. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say.